Hello techies, I'm Divya here. On behalf of CyberBrainer, don't you think the world of tech is evolving faster than ever? Now is the perfect time to dive in and build the skills that will take you places. With CyberBrainer, we are putting you in the driver's seat of your own future. We at CyberBrainer don't just teach your interest. We believe that knowledge is power, but it's applied knowledge that truly sets you apart. Whether you're diving into data science, mastering artificial intelligence, or exploring the world of cybersecurity, our courses are designed to give you the skills that matter. So let's jump into the session and make the future yours today. Thank you.
Today, we'll be talking about approvals and paper policies. The accrual is basically your leaves, which we said, the leaves which we use like vacation leave, simply personally, if medically or any kind of leaves, whichever you will be taking during your tenure with the company, that all things will be taken care by accruals. Now, accruals in a normal company, in every company, it will be credited to you based on your data hire or based on how many days you have worked, how many hours you have worked with them, or maybe on a monthly basis or quarterly basis within a 6 months or 2 months in a year. And sometimes companies do give the what we say, if you have a more experienced, they'll give you more number of leaves, more number of accruals. Bucket in the bucket, you will get more. Let's say for a fresher or someone having 1 year or 2 years of experience, you will get 40 or credit amounts, whereas someone who is having more than 10 years of experience will have the 80. It's not about the experience. It's about how many years you stayed with the company. That is the length of service with the company. If you have 10 years of you stayed with the company for more than 10 years, then you will get, let's say, 120 years, whereas someone who is there with the company for 1 year or 2 years, they will get 40 amount. These are all the things comes or will be handled using the accrual. There are a few more things which are there normally in a company. Whenever, let's say, you cannot take more than 10 accruals, you cannot go to the negative balance. You will take or carry over X number of amount from one financial year to another financial year. These are also few things which comes under accruals. Now, one more important thing that comes under the accrual multi provision period. You must ignore more. Many companies do have provision period. Some companies, if they have one amount of provision period, some as 3 months of provision period. Whereas if you have pressure newly join the corporate world to complete in your degree, then it might happen. They will have a provision period of 1 year. All these things we can manage using the accrual. Now the one more important one which you will see under the accruals is balance cascade. Yes, a balance cascade is something like it's used to, let's say, some companies. When you leave their company, they do the leave in cash rent. That they'll give you the money for those rates which you didn't got a chance to use it or you saved it, that you will get a cash. That is also a one feature which Kronos gives us the accrual building block or accrual module. And let's talk about two of the building blocks. And I know you will see all the building blocks over here. Let's talk about the building blocks one by one. Along with that, we'll go with the application. Now, in the very first one for the building block, starting the very static phase is the accrual code. Before talking about accrual code, let's talk about the paper. What paper suits? Anything you do or any kind of work or anything you want to count. Keep a count of that, or you want it to store it, or you want it to be visible to you that you can do the calculation and you do the payments and all those things for that purpose. Kronos at use pickles. Pickle is a unit and of a tank, a block which is used to store those values, to count those values. And every single thing that will happen in corners will be accountable in terms of pay courses. If I'm saying account table on the extent of pay codes, that means the payroll team will do the payment based on the pay codes. The number of past. There is a pay code and pay codes do have lets for the overtime. There will be different kind of configuration for the pay codes. If there's a regular hours, there would be different kind of the configurations for that. These are all things will be accounted using the papers. Now you understood, they go over those paper too. Now there are few that three types of that total or three types of paper. That is the three things which you source into paper and that. Based on that three things only, you will get the payment. The payroll team will do the calculation and you will do they will do the salary transfer in your account and you will get the salary in your bank account. Those three things are money and this. Is being captured using the paper. We will talk more in depth about the paper when we go to the paper. We will go to the paper. We will go to the. Just after this, we will go to the sorry. Just after this, we will talk. Just after completing the equals, we will talk about the paper. This is not. Now you understood the paper. Let us talk about the actual code. The actual code. Do the same thing storing, like storing the hours, money, and even those things. In terms what related to the accruals, it is obvious. If you know you have 10 rotation, you need where it will be stored, how you will see you have 10 vacation. That storage or that kind of thing is done by a roll code. A roll code is a storage to keep count of the hours, the N money for that. Now, if there are some different other things, the accruals. Now, every single thing relative to your leaves will be captured in the accrual code. Now, if you see the time card on the other bottom, you will see the multiple tabs, accruals, store terms, historic corrections, audit. When you click on Accruals tab, you will see the list of accrual codes over there. Let's say you have three types of leave. That would be, let's say, a compound earning leave, personally sick leave, vacation leave. These 5 kind of leaves will be mentioned under that Accrual tab. Now how you will apply the accrual code. That particular accrual codes, whatever you will see the vacation, sick and all, will not be available under the actual time card section where we see the dates in and out time and the time card. You won't see that thing over there. In order to apply an accrual, apply a leave, you need to use a takeover. That's why we talked about the takeover before talking about accrual code. While configuring the accrual code, you will be creating a relationship between the pay code and the accrual code. You will select a particular pay code that will be used in order to trigger this specific leave. Let's say we have a sickly accrual code. There might be a similar kind of paper, let's say sick, which we use to make the relation between the accrual codes and codes. In the 10 card, we will be applying the sick paper with XYZ or how many ABCs amount. Let's say 5 hours sick paper with 5 hours. Same thing will be. The 5 hours will be detected from most sick leave bucket. That's the why we need a relationship between the accrual and pickle in order to successfully find order to use the accrual. Now of the non-enact spin once your accrual code is done. Now one more thing before we move on to the dates. The relation between papers and accrual code is like we create or establish the particular relation in accrual policy, not before. Now let's talk about the dates. How this system will know what's your date of hire when you join. Let's say 1st January. We want to give everyone 30 amount of vacation leave. System needs to know dates. On which date we need to do the credit work, and that's why under the approval building long, we have a date. What date is used for? Date is used to tell the system when he needs to trigger, the credit trigger, the condition. Whatever related to the approval, put that requires a date. We will see those things under the date. Now there are two types of dates. As you can see there are three types of dates, but we use mostly related two types. Third types never seen, you never seen been used by anyone and even most of the people have watched. Because these two dates are lit enough, as these two are sufficient to create any kind of scenarios. Now the way it is, first type is site-wide dates and the second one is person-specific dates. Now, site-wide dates are common dates which are used by all these sites. Let us say 1st January, 1st March, quarter 1, 31st December or any date which can be used or can be applied to any employee in the organization. We were talking about this. Site-wide dates. As we talked, it is a general date which can be applicable to each and every single employee working in the organization. Now there comes the second one process because as a person here, date of hire or any other specific thing. cannot be a site-wide dates. It cannot be common to all. It would be specific to you. And it would be specific to you. You will be using a person-specific index, that is data fire. You can create n number of different types of names, but the option will always be data fire under the person-specific data. Option is data fire. That means if you created a data fire 1, you can use data fire 1 in creating data fire 2. But everything should be a little bit of time mostly. Now, once you created the data, let us say, for example, understanding the things 1st January 2020 2000. 1st January 2000, what kind of data could be? Can we apply this data to every single one? Yes, we can. That is why this will be a site-wide dates. What about 21st April? 21st April 2020. It doesn't seem to be a common date because it is not a generic one or well-known one. It is a specific. It would be mostly specific to someone, That is why it should be a possible specific date. If you want to create credit of 40 hours in these two dates, 1st January 2000, you will create a site-wide date. 1st April 2020, you will create as a person's principal, and it can be data fire. Now we understood like on dates, we can do the credit. That is a date if you do the credit on. Let us say 1st January 2020, 2020, 2000, or this is the 1st January 2000. System doesn't know 1st January 2001. 1st January 2002 and on and forth. System doesn't know that. In order to tell this system the sequence or the continuous occurrence of the date within any kind of, with any interval between them, that is done using date pattern. Now date pattern is a sequence of dates. As is with the dates, we can only create a date that would be a specific date, but the date pattern helps us to have a sequence of dates. Let us say sequence that can be easily understandable by yes, and based on that we can give the credit. Let us say we want to give the credit on every single week, 1 hour. That would be a weekly kind of credit. And let us say it is starting from 15th January. 15th March. It will go to 10th March and 30th March on. We use date pattern to create a sequence, and that sequence helps us to trigger the things, not by creating hundreds of dates. We can create one day pattern, and we can credit those things in 100 different dates. Now talking about the type of date patterns, they have 5 date patterns. That is mostly a frequency. You can create a date pattern with days gap and number of days gap. Then you can create a weekly one. You can create a number of week gaps. You can get monthly one with multiple months gap. Then you can credit a yearly one. And there is a last one paper based on your paper. Yet that the paper yet can be different for each and every plus. It is not necessary it should be the same. Based on your specific paper, yet we can credit a date pattern. Now you have created a date pattern. You understood each and everything how weekly works, how much you work, how good the sequence of things. Now there is one more thing which we need to remember in dead pattern is the appearance of date. When the appearance of date can be generalized, or a company can make a generic date, a specific date on which they want to do the credit for their own accountability. They can check it out. In that scenario, they will move our date pattern dates, the date pattern sequence date, to a specific date. That is done using pattern start reference. For example, let's say we have taken these two references 10th March and 21st March. And we will be generalizing this in a way that no matter you joined our 10th March or 21st March, the credit should happen on a specific date. For that reason, we will use pattern start and reference date. Now there are four options under that. Start of reference date. That means it will start on the date, on that particular date itself. If you select start of reference date, it will start with 10th March and 24th. The credit will happen on 10th month and 20th March. Next, we have start on or before the reference. If you select this option, this system will ask you what would be the day and month for the generic reference date. Where you want to move this to. Where you want to move these two dates. You'll get a drop down for a date and you'll get drop down for the month. Depends. If you select a weekly one might be, I'll get a drop down for a date. If you select a monthly one, you will get months. Date also yearly month also depends on what type of things you will select. Based on that, you'll see a start on or before reference date options for the day and month. Let's say, for example, we want to make the things generally on 15th. Let's say we do want to do on the 15th. If we select the 15th of March, then it will mostly be the early type. But let's say we just wanted to generalize our dates. These two dates on 15th of a month. I'm not saying any month because we just wanted to move it. Now for this one, we select the 15th. Now what will happen? This is start on or before the reference. Now our reference date 10th March. It says before it go back and find 15th. All before means it will go back. It will start going back 10th March, 9th March, 8th March, 7th March, 6th March, 5th March. I will keep going on until 8th, find 15th, whatever month it is. Obviously, it will go back and find 15th, 5th. Now the date pattern will start from 15th, 5th and it will go to 15th March, 15th, 10th, 15th, 15th, 15th June and on. What about this one? Don't. Let's start going back from towards 21st March, 20th March, 19th March, 18th March, 17th, 15th March, 5th, 15th March, 15th March. Oh, we found it very quickly. It would be 15th March. Now from 15th March, it will start till March, 15th April, 5th May, 15th June, 15th July and on. Now start on or before reference date. You understand this system will look back for that date. And start the counting. Start the sequence from that date. Now let's talk about start on or after. Once you say after the 10th March, we'll start looking for the after the future one. It would be 11th, 12th March, 13th March, 4th March, 10th, 15th March. We got it. it's 15th March. If 15th March, 10th March, 10th March, and then you'll turn on or not. Now let's talk about the 10th, 21st March. From the 1st March it will start to 1st March. Since 10th March on 4th it will go. It won't find anything in March, it will find 15th April. Our sequence will start from 15th April, it's May, 15th June, July, August, and we will go on. Now there is very last option for this pattern startup, and they start closest to the reference date. Start closest to the reference date. What you do is you will find out the closest one. You will check before and after both the dates. Find out which one is closest to the date. The two dates will come up when we talk about 10th March. That will be 15th March and 15th 7th, before and after. But the closest one to the 10th March is 15th March. That is why I have time for the sub of 15th March, 15th April, 5th May, 15th June, on and forth. Talking about the 21st March, we have 15th March and 15th April. Based on that, the closest one is 15th March. It is scenario also. On time period of the start of 15th March, which is made. These are the things related to the patterns. And we talked about these things. Help, date pattern, sexual code, pay codes, how we create the date pattern. That is, what are the different types of a program. We understood all these things. Now let's talk about provision video. Provision period is something that you are not permanent to a company. You just join a new company. You are on the probation. You are not a spirit. Unless you won't be able to take analytics and all those things, that all things will go on. That is what provision period means. And in provision, there are two types of probation period, a recurring one or a single one. A recurring one or a single one. A recurring one, a recurring one of 4 months. It will keep on going. Unless your manager will not change your actual profile. It's a recurring one. There is no way other than changing the Accrual profile. There is no way to stop that thing. And then there will be a single month. It will automatically be done, will close for a certain amount of time. Let's say for a recurring of 3 months. It will keep on going 3 months, 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 3 months. 3 months compared to your start from 0. Again, a new provision period will start. And it can only be changed by changing your Accrual profile. We cannot do anything else that should be done by an import. Accrual import, or maybe by your manager by changing, coming to your profile and making the changes. Whereas this single one is very simple. After 3 months, it will go away and you will be considered as a permanent employer. Let's say if you accrue anything in a probation period, either it will come under bracket. Let's say 4 that you cannot use, but still it would be there. Once you have probation, and it will move it like this, or you will find these things under as a running probation period. Running probation balance. Where do they support us? Whatever you have on will be shown as running probation period. Our probation period is also done. Let's talk about grants. Grant is something which helps us to give the credit. Giving the credit if we use grants. The most important one is grant, because without grant you cannot give 20 hours, 30 hours, 10 hours, 5 hours, success, whatever hours you want to give. You cannot give any amount. If you want to be using a grant, grants are of two types, fixed on grant. Fixed grant is like a kind of directly giving something to them. On grant means you should work, then only you will earn, and as you know, pay code is used to calculate whatever things you have done, whether you have worked or not. For on grant, we do need a pay code. We do need a pay code for that. For talking about the on brand, let's say we have a 20 hours of regular. If you work 20 hours, then only you will get 2 hours of sick. We calculate in 1 hour's regular, you will get 0.10 hours. And then based on that, we do the credit. That is what we use grant on. For fixed one, exactly give 20 hours spent. But on grant, we check the paper. This is a regular paper. How many hours? If you work 20 hours, we will give you 2 hours. If you work 1 hour, we will give you 0.1 hours. That is how we calculate and we do the configuration. Now talking about the important thing, wherever you will find a quality fast like these things, the quality fast. That means it is a kind of a condition, a criteria. It is a criteria to check whether or not it is. There would be a reactive, how many days you are active in this system. Days employed means how many days you are employed with the company. And day walks means how many days you have walked or you came to the office. You came to office and you are walking. As in the papers. Again, it will check a paper and it will work that number of hours that paper to be eligible or to be to full train. This condition. Now field of quality, fast start. Once you select the there fields, where you will mention how many hours you need to check, how many hours you need to check, how many hours you require. What are the things you will select? From that we have a states. There will be 3 options for down there which you will select and based on that you will be taking the actions. The very first one is period to check. A period to check is for how many times we have a second week we want to check, whether a month you want to check or how many days you wanted to check. That is period to check and the amount means, let's say, within a week, you want 3 days to be won, 3 days to work and 3 days to work within a week. Within a week, 3 days of doing in a pay code. Now, pay codes option will only count for hours in pay codes. We don't need a pay code. Total range of time for how many weeks you want to check. We'll say, let's say for a month, 4 weeks, we'll check. Then we'll say this condition is whole field and minimum occurrence, let's say within a month. within a month. We want for a week 3 days. Let's say for a week, 5 times within a month. That is 4 weeks. I want you to work at least 2 times unit 2. Fulfilled this condition twice. That means in a month you will be working 5 days in any of the 2 weeks. If I'll say in any order, that means it can be in any of the week. If I'll say consecutive options over there, that means you should be working straightforward the 2 consecutive 3. Now this is all about the qualifiers. Now remember it's not about the qualifiers. You will be finding the grant. Qualifiers will be available on the provision period, the limits, the other places also. But the options will be, say functionality wise, it will be say, the qualifiers is qualifiers will be the things which is used for doing the conditions. Now the next topic, the cover all this. Now the next topic will only few things. Yes, then we will put it with it. A growth, and we will look into the application that. We will get through the application UI and you would be able to create a continuous. That's clear out the concept and then we're doing it. The limits is something that's the normal example of limit is to pound something. It's to stop them for doing that. Thanks dollars. There are 5 types of limits. Over here we use limits the same way that we won't allow you to take more amount. We don't want you to take it. Carry forward to the next year and all those things will come over. There are 5 types of limits. The carryover limit. The very first important one is carryover limits. Carryover limit is something that you will take it forward. If you are putting a carryover limit on the yearly places of 20, and it doesn't matter whether you have 25 or 30, you can take only 20 to the next year. Earning amount is if we put the earning amount of 5 in a month maximum, you can earn 5. Maximum you can earn 5. Other than that, we lose. Say carryover limit, but something like that. It will not. Earning balance is how much you can fold. Balance, it is a pocket. The maximum capacity of your natural type or that particular actual type we create using a calming balance. If you put a 20 as your calming balance, you can hold 20 maximum into that type of a core. That is not a calming balance, and it is very important to understand the difference between earning amount and earning balance. And balance is maximum you can hold, earning amount, how much you can earn during that period of time. Now taking limit. Taking limit is like the amount which you can take, the maximum amount. It is a week. Do not want anyone to take more than 3 leaves in a month. That is what taking limit means. We do not want you to take up what is taking limit. Now the next is cap on armoring -3. This is something which needs some deep thinking. This is cap on or against the capital on armoring. That is whatever you want during that period of time. Weird and whatever you have taken the substructure. This is minor. This is obstruction. The armoring balance minus your taking balance, the sum of that value should never exceed the limit of value within that period of time. Let's talk about this one. This is what you will be talking about. CD, it's not a short term overall. It's just for my simplicity, I have given it a CD. Cap on armoring minus taking. Let's say the cap on armoring minus taking is 40 hours. In 3 months, January, February, March. Now you entered the 1st January using a 24 hours of balance. With a 24 hours balance. What it? With a 24 hours of balance, you'll enter into the January 1st. Now during that period, you have taken 30 hours of leave between 4 minus 30 days, 11 hours. And then during this 3 months, you are on 32 hours. Now let's do 3 minutes minus the taking value. How much you have taken, that is 11-year mini, plus 32 is 43. This is 11. Plus 32 is what is more. Now in terms, let's stop in terms of this formula. It would be 24 plus 30. Attitude upon ornaments, capital to a sermon, minus they take it. That will be 40th figure. 43 is greater than equals to the 40. That is why the system will stop you. In the very time when you reach the 40, 41.42, 43 will not happen either. You won't want to turn it those things. You won't get that particular thing. More you use, more you are. That was Capone or nothing, minus taking a healthy or more taken. Take it, take it, take it. That's all about the Capone or nothing. If you see a few parallel, let's clear it out, the concept of these two. You understood carryover, limited to the road maximum. You can take earning amount, how much you can. That's all earning. Balance is maximum, how much you can hold. If you exceed that value, it will be not able to use it. This, all the things comes together, and after coming together, this will be a little different types of limits. Taking is how much you can take. Honestly, and then we have Capone or nothing, my second product. We have drawn through this example. Now let's talk about the approval of all this, the place where we bring all those things together. Actual policy is a place where we bring all those together. We had pay code and approval code make the relation. In this very start of the day, our session, I told you that this is a place where we make the rule policies, a place where we make the relationship. Let us complete it up. Pay codes and actual codes relation would be done under the actual policies. That means what all hack codes will be there, or what for actual, not what was accrual policy. We'll use only one actual code, one actual policy code. This is one-to-one or the actual policy. Each actual policy will have only one actual. Where these papers can be different, you can use a number of papers to trigger those things. If it is a small one, or maybe you will see one, but it can have many. Do not get it until if you see multiple papers being selected over there. But we made the relation of things over here. Now let us talk about other things. Other one of things we will talk about provision period. We talk about after that rules. We talked about provision period. We will select the provision period. We will enter service. Again, it will be a pattern based on data, Firebus and specific data that we can use. Any different types of limits, whatever we create, different types of balance we create, and then there is an overdraft. We will talk about it. Overdraft is something which helps you to take a go to the negative balance, even though you do not have the balance till you will give or to the system. That is what. Now seek a rule policy. We'll set a code for us. If you want, let's say there are two, seek a code policy over there. And you want to create a code profile. You want to create a code profile for two different set policies. You cannot add to policy for the same type of actual that rule. Obviously actual code for reset. Either you can use for policy 1 or actual policy. You cannot use both of them. You cannot use both of them. That's why I have written, once you have done, policy is done. You created two actual policy. You wanted to create an actual code profile. You have to create a key channel. Great types of actual policy. It comes together and then we assign the central profile to your actual profile. That you will be able to see those things. That's what's a code profile. And you're only one policy of one kind, of the only one sick that's who are only one vacation, only 1 hour. Now the reason we are adding isn't behind the avoiding those is system will get confused and will not be able to trigger the rules and regulation or the credit or the grants or the limits for that product. That's why system doesn't allow you to add one or more policy. We can use only one at a time. Now let's talk about the last filter of our. This will see last of the top of our profile. Let's see. And then we will be taking a short. Now let's talk about the balance. Balance cascading and balance cascading group is something. Balance cascading will create a balance cascading we'll add multiple balance cascading to balance cascading group. Just like we create a multiple approval policies and then we assign that as to the approval program. Now that's why we do. Why we? What are exactly the purpose of balance cascading? Balance cascading is used when employees goes out of the company and you want to do the encashment or pay out the approach, whatever actual value balance error, you will do the encashment of that. This is the first reason of using a balance cas. Now another scenario where we use balance cas to move these. What an amount of practical for one type to the another type. These are the two things for which we use the balance. Got? These are the two things that took place this year. We Vivi. Where we usually balance tested. Now let's talk about an example of how we use the balance test. Let's say the very first scenario is the personality that's been. Let's say we have a bond of 100 companies to send the paid food associated with this one. This will be the things which we will be transferring into the cash investment. And company only encash you on 100 or only encash you on 1. What we will do, but still the process is if you have anything in sick or vacation, that also you will get paid, but it should be paid to you. Instead of transferring each and everything to the particular pay code of particular in cash investment. In cash investment, it's an investment. This is parity only no with the pay code. Everything is to be transferred to particular pay goes instead transferring vacation to a paid code. Vacation to paid code onto a paid code. On top of what they will do transfer the vacation to fund. That is what they vary. Second thing you can do is of second one. Some necessary they will do, but it's an example of second one. It will transfer all the values of vacation to fund second one. One value of vacation. Second one of these in on now on will have, let's say, 100. Company will send this particular 100 to a particular pay code. That is the scenario one. And then all the 100 hours will be given by the parity into you. That is what it is got it. That is what the balance gets. It means. These are something else, or we will talk about it in the next time. Now, if you want to, let us all start. Full day is at T. FT is a very important concept. Let us finish it out this. FT is a good concept. You should know. It is not very much used, but still you should know. You mention the FT percentage value in employee's profile. If you mention a T value 50%, if an employee is getting 100% full-time employee of T value 100%, it will get 120%. Whereas it will get changed to part-time employee. Part-time employee has a 50% of a T value. It is just 120 to a greater 60%. Within a second half of the year, that is now let us talk about after 6 months, it will get changed. For 6 months it will get 20, that is 120. That is your 60. For 6 months it will be 60. You get a first half as a 60-second half. Your equal NCFT changed. Now it's 60 hours only and it's for 6 months. You'll get 30. The total amount you're getting is 90. Whereas if you would be a full-time equivalent, you might have got 1. That's what the E value got it. Now let's talk about the comfort one. Compost all over the comfort, it's about over half. If your over half value is 0 and your start balance is 0, and there is 2 things under the over half balancer on taken date or current date. Current date means the system will check your current date today. System will check today whether you have a balance today or not, and then whether you apply for back date or featured date or today, the system will always check your current balance. You have a current balance, then it will allow you to do. Whereas if you select balance on take and date, what system will check the date on which you are applying? On that date you have the balance. You will have the balance or not. That this system will check. This is the system, will hear that amount. We will log into the application. Is it recording? Now let's start the application field. I'll go to this setup. The setup is on the platform side. You click over here. Go to the application setup. The setup will open for us and here we have the Accrual. As we talked, the very first thing we will be creating is a scroll code. You click new. Things are very simple. You put the name, you put the application, you put the type. There is a hard stage of money. These particular options are per day. It will only get enabled when you select days. The system wants to know if someone is applying for a day, how many hours he needs to, or the system needs to data. That is what the reason we have is for a day option. Over here, it gets only enabled when you select a date. Now there are 2 options, whether you list it always be disabled because everything will be this particular thing. Accrual code will always be visible in the total steps and then we want it to be manually edited. If manually edited means whether you want your manager or someone to edit it, then you will select manually edit the interval. Otherwise you won't. Otherwise you will not select it. Now what about if all the reporting period let be a good time? And another time card. If you go to the accruals, you will be saying the accrual reporting period. This is what they default reporting period, this particular things. We will tell you from which we have time period. When you do default reporting period, tell the system what should be the reporting period and reporting. This is the reporting period. I am not sure why we are already having follows. There are three options. No, someone has messed up with the setup. But they will find the number of hours that they have, number all things that they have wanted to show, or you can see. That's what that's all about, that thing. A cool amount and all those things. Now, default reporting period is something which will be visible, or the calculation of things should be there. Over there under the tabs, there are almost 5 options you will see. That 5 options, the very first one is the type of output. Second one is the starting balance. Third is current balance. Fourth one is ending balance, and fifth one, you will see the reporting period. This is how the actual accrual tab at the bottom side will look like. I will try to find out like someone has messed up the setup. That's not sure. But it should be 5 options over there. First one is the current type. That is easy. Second one is like the opening balance. The opening balance is yes. That will be if you are. Reporting period is from 1st January till 31st. The starting balance, the opening balance, will tell you that particular tag, will tell you what was your balance of 1st January. If it's a monthly one, it will tell you first. That's a 1st of June, August, 1st of September, please. This week it's September, 1st of September. What was your balance? That is what the important opening balance. Now the current balance will tell you what's your balance today. Ending balance will tell you what would be or expected of balance. If you don't use or don't take any leave at the time, let's say it's a 31st December, what would be your balance? If it's a monthly one, it would be the 31st of the end of the month. That is what reported reporting period means. But no. This is how you create the accrued balance. Now the next step is, we talked about the dates. Now dates are 2 types. We already know date has 2 types, I days and person specific date. You click on dates, you see the option site-wide dates. These are generated for use for everyone. And then if you scroll down, we have persons specific dates, which are most of the data, have to look see if match these options. These all options are created over you. At the very beginning, if you hide it, you created a T, watch. Now if you select this drop down, you will find the hired, it and the web. Then again, it will go on, keep on going. We we are directorate. We can or we have a relation with the hired date. I call this person specific date. This is all of them, would be the hired date. Persons, specific date is a hired. There's one more, which is employment of related to data employment. Now, once you have created those, this was January, C for January 1990, for January 1990, with two different names in order to have the proper for relation, proper things whenever we use this, that those things would work properly. Now, once you are done with the dates, let's create a date pattern. That pattern is something which will help us to create a group of things. Now, once you click on now and see, here's the reference date. What are the reference date at video? We created it with the 15 December. What we'll do, we'll get selected date over. And if you want to see how the what would be the dates, you will get preview. Clear one preview. Review will give you a list of dates. What would be a pattern of sequence would be? See, it's a daily event. It will start on Friday. Now let's make it a weekly one. Let's make it a week. And then we'll click on preview. It will start on Friday. And there would be a date with the Friday action. And that's just Friday. If I need a preview, I mean if 12/19, this is how the pattern would be. Now, if you select options of closest to, as we talk, closest to 0 reference date, it will ask you for an option. What it would be? Let's make it a wanna stay. Then if you click on preview from, the thing would be when I stay, when I stay, when I stay, when I stay, when I stay. See, everything is changed to 1, as you've been, as you've been, as you've been, as you've been. And as your Friday, the closest one, stay would be the previous one. That's why it's going back. Honestly, for Friday the closest one, stay would be the back one, but then the date is 5th. Still it's going to 3rd. But if I make it on or before, when I stay, it will go back and find before back. It will go back. If you click on preview, if you can preview it, it's going back and find the penacity. Now if I make it start on or after a chance date, I have a quick on preview. It will go forward and find the Venice date. It will go forward. Now it's a 5th one. Now it's a 10th. It's a good week. It went forward in future. And keep on. That's how we create. If you click a monthly one, the pattern, start, reference date and all the options. See, it will ask for a date. If you make it a year one, then it will ask for a day and a month. Likewise, we create different date patterns. If you want to move a date pattern with certain kind of dates, certain kind of pattern, let's say you created a monthly one and you want every date to be moved 1 week before, 1 week after, you will select a date pattern of 1 week. And we put 1. You move it 2 weeks, you will put 2. And that's offset. Offset is used to move the date value with a certain date pattern, whether it should be the weekly, 1 day's one or whatever, but you can move it. Now, once you're there and this is the preview, remember preview is very important. Your view is something which is used to move. used to understand those things. Now let's go to the next one, which we talked about, to the provision period. This too will talk a little. Let's talk about provision period first. Provision period is something which is like a normal provision. There are two types of single directly, as they converge calls like the other. Usually an ecosystem spectrum system is either. Let's see why. Now that is in the case as of in some peak and we have seen a more, and then you'll put the amount. As I told you, a pay coach will only come when you select our same pick. That's what's our same pick. And if you select any other things, it will go on. Then we have a period to check one of the pairs. You want to check 1 week and one of the things, then total range of time. Let's say 4 week, 5 days. Now it's dead. If we check pipe, it would be the 5 days check minimum difference, whether it should be a 1-2 in any order or consecutive order. We already talked about this. Just have a look to the application. Now single and regular single dead pattern will select a 3 months of dead pattern and it will get 1. Now single date pattern. Now if you select a rectangle, there will be no perfect abstract. And you will find only a particular because there is no foundation for that single one. It will automatically, and sorry for a rectangle, there will be no one. The rectangle, as I told you, manager will come and change the profile. Then only your foundation will change. That is why there is no one. But because it is keep on going, without checking any condition, without finding anything. That is why we have only these options. No polyp to the limits. Now, once probation is also done, let us talk about the limits. As we know, limits are different times. The only thing you need to remember under the limit is, we do not put the values over here under the limit. We just create a bucket or type of that limit. The values would be created under a global policy. And their options. See earning balance limit. We talked about it. The earning balance mode is something which should be like how much you can keep into that bucket. That does not need any time frame. That is not time dependent. It will always be there, whether it is a 1st January or 2nd January or 1st December or whatever. That is why these options are disabled for it. If you talk about earning any amount of it, that is what you do. Things are there. Once you select it, once you select any other things, you will find. Except there is one more thing. Carryable limit will have a different option. Other than that, we'll have a seasonal time period where you select the lifetime, continuous rolling time period. You select this one, you will see one. How many years, a day, is a week, month you want to go. Pay period you want to use, you put it over it. Date pattern is something which you put as a date pattern. You select an edit pattern and then you'll do the whatever date pattern you did. What do you select? That will be the same options for all the above. Except the carry or limit. Carry or limit is something which you will be used to take it over next year. Over here, you will have 3 options: maximum, minimum, or maximum and minimum for you. This is 3 things max. How much maximum you can take, how much minimum you will take, or you will take the maximum and forgive the negative. Sometimes it may happen that your carrier limit is 20, but your balance is minor. In that scenario, we will remove the negative and we will move only 0. This is how we create and we will have a date pattern. Then only system will learn how much for that particular date pattern we need to do 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, whatever it is. That is how we can really match. Now let's go on. Let's look through the turning. Let's go directly to the home. And now there is another upper parameter we cleared, grant. Grant is the thing which is helpful to us in order to create. In order to create or in order to give the things. Now again, you will see the qualifiers over here. You are saying the qualifiers would say most of the same option, same functionality and all those things. Now FTI told you it is something which is, if it's a 50% or 100% or whatever, the values of actual code will be changed based on that. Whether you want to adjust, whether you don't want, or whether you adjust based on a particular big group, many of us will work in that big group. The adjustment will be done based on that. Whether you want that approval. If you grant it 10 hours, you want it to be expired through 1 week, 1 day, 1 month, whatever you will select, and then you will tell the system. This is one of our way. Expired now, this grant will be one time. That is one time only once. Or repeatedly, let's say every year we want to give 30. That would be repeatedly and fixed because it's a 30 fixed value. Every year we will be granting the values continue as late. Now this is about the fixed again dead pattern is always required. Should it pattern be already know what the dispatch is? Now there is on one, it's slightly on one. It will ask you for a quick question, just not get your last report. And we have a pay total. Now, once you have the pay codes, whether you want it to be granted immediately or if you want it to be done or not, particular dead pattern, you will select a truncate grant in increment. That is, if you want to give the grants in a chance, in a smaller value that we do over here. Now, whether you want to expire, it does not expire or expire. We have this option overview. Then at the same point, we have a poly class every quarter. We have a poly class. Once we have a poly class, you know how to do it. This is very simple. Earning is also simple. You have to select the query if you want it to be done immediately. Once it will work, you will get the things. If you want it to be done on every weekly basis, monthly basis, daily basis, you will select that particular dead pattern. Whether you want it to be run even in a whole amount or in a chance, these are the two options we do. Then we have expiration, same options and poly class. This is all about the grant. Now, once a grant is done, it is time to club this into a simple. We are going to show you once these are done. We do a good work for this and under the actual poly series, we club all those things as we already done. We club all those things. With club all those things together. Now we have a provision period. We select the provision period or length of service. We select a date pattern. We have only one, only date of hire. That's correct, but don't believe we can select only one actual code, but we can select multiple tickets. This is taking place. We select the tickets. Now I told you, if something is going above your balance, it will be stored over here. I just balance it onto a T. Like, if you want to adjust the balance according to a T is select, You will check this one. Otherwise, that you grant. What are grants you want? You will select a grant. You will select the amount. You will select the expiration. If you want to do it to expire and where it should go, it will go. If you select a length of service, as I told you, based on length of service also, you can give the grant. We can do that. But please don't let the service also. If you want to give that, also wait. Sorry, it will be done. If you have a date of service, you will select. The length of service will come over here. You will click on plus. Click on plus, you will have a new line and you will make it 1. You will make the amount as 40. It's loading. Now, if you expand 0, if you have an experience of 5, same grant, basically same grant. If you have experience of 5, you have experience till 0 till 5. It will be this. Once you have 5 years of experience, you will get 120. Before that, you will get. This is how we create foreign based on length of service from experience to the company in the company. Similar way, we will add all the limits over here except in taking even, because taking limit has its own place. We are taking the warning and the alarm. We select the papers. Now it is too important. When you are taking, you are meeting, and if you put 4, your employee can take 4 days minimum. It cannot take 2 days to days now. 4 days, and after that it would be the increment of 2 to 4 plus 2 is 6. It will take the leaves in a fashion like this 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Cannot take 5, 7, 9 based on this condition. It will go with the increment of 2 and the minimum taking of 4. That is how this is overdraft. I totally overdraft is something which is used to go to the negative. If you do not have balance, still you want to go to negative. Then we use overdraft. These are the value. Over this we can go. 1 or 2 or whatever overdraft value you can go. This we already talked balance on parent aid. What system will check, balance or take? And then here it is, which I think we talked about it over here there is. Now we will write for this over here. This one. We talked about this. You can write for this one. Go back and search this one. You understand again. Now, can this be override by import? Yes, we wanted to do is if you wanted to be group and group, it is done by a manager to edit the employees. Multiple employees are saved. That is our group in it. And if you want it to be edited by group, it is warning, can be or import, can do the things, you will correct. Otherwise, you are the other options we talked about. Now, once our actual policy is ready, say for a save for a vacation, we go to a profile and then we assign it to that. We click on new one. You want to do it? And then we assign, we select this particular one, and over here we have option to visible or hidden. There are 3 approaches, policies which you don't know, but the company is using it to calculate the things for you. That is what hidden policy means. You will click on new. You will start adding. You want it to be visible. You will do it. You don't want, then you put it as hidden. Now the balance group also. You do the same thing. Now let's talk balance cascade group. You add over here. That's a group of balance cascade. Now let's talk about balance. What exactly do balance displays? Now balance cascade is like as we talk. Balance has 2 things. I already will use to pay out, or else it will be used to transfer the amount for one balance. That's what balance is. These are like type. the particular date pattern and actual code amount, which one you want to tell and deduct from which. Let's say these two should be saved at the P2, P2. These two should be same because we wanted to do the transfer, or it usually should start from that and then it can move behind and go everywhere, everyone. And if you want to do the payout, if you want to do it payout, then it should be a take put. You select a take put, all the arts will be transferred to it and it will be paid by the payroll thing using this put. What are values or what are the amount is there for the arts for this take put. You will get it if you want it to be transferred from one bucket to another. You will see now. M, P, F, T, T. All will go to G, J, P, T. What are these? Now there is one more thing. Either you do it move all or you want to restrict the movement. Let's say I'll put 40 over here. I'll put 40, then 40 amount will be transferred. And if I put minus 40, all the hours above 40 will go well. 40 will be there. That is what that is, 40 minus 40. What all value would go to a, that will be this value plus fixed amount. Is it 30? Put minus 40. What all values is there? It will keep 40 over here and remaining. Let us say 45 is there. You put minus 40. Only 5 hours will be transferred. It will put 40. Then 40 will be transferred to over. Got it? You want to reduce to 0 or increase to 0. That depends on your hours, whether it is a negative value or what. This is how we create balances or moving the amount from one bucket to another or doing the payment. You can use either of them or you can use both of them. Depends on you, but you wish to prefer to use one at a time. Once your balance cascade, before balance cascade is done, you will to balance cascade group to different balance cascade together. You will group different balance cascade together. You will move it to the other. That is where these two will create a group. Then this group balance cascade group, you will go to a group and over there you will be adding that. Over there you will be over here. You will be adding that particular balance cascade. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel.